Welcome back to In Ohio Country Today. I'm Big Dan Wilson, and in this week's edition, our feature story is with Congressman Max Miller. The U.S. Congressman serves the 7th District of Ohio. He also sits on the House Committee on Agriculture. Our Amanda Mangan caught up with him to talk about his reaction to the recent presidential State of the Union address.
So first off, give me your impressions of this State of the Union address. How did you feel about it overall?
I thought it was very disappointing. We have a lot of problems within our country that we are facing that we need to fix, that can be fixed at this moment in time. And the president last night decided to make really his 3 points of his speech in the very beginning about a war in Ukraine, about IVF, and about January 6th and Republicans being a threat to democracy. What I wanted to hear from the president last night is what are you going to do to address inflation that was at roughly 1.4% when you started as president of the United States, and since 2021 it's gone up 17.9%. I didn't hear how he plans to still address that. It's obviously not transitory. I heard really nothing about the border, as he then brought it up but blamed Republicans. We have passed HR 2, I want to be clear, the strongest border package out of the House of Representatives since the early 1990s. And this has been sitting up there in the Senate collecting dust. And I just want to make something clear. No new laws need to be passed in order for President Biden to enforce the existing laws that are down already at our country, at our southern border. He can fix this as of yesterday, and he could fix it today with a stroke of a pen, as he undid everything President Trump had done to secure the border. And when we talk about energy independence, he said nothing about it. He continued to gloss over it, with his, Green New Deal and the GREET model and his climate change agenda, which is more activist than being pragmatic. And it really is troubling. I wanted to hear answers on how, we could help every American, not just some. And I didn't get that last night.
And he only mentioned agriculture once in his speech. He talked quickly about family farms. So, what does that mean to you in terms of the farm bill and what that means for the agriculture industry in general to only get just that little snippet of a mention in that entire hour and a half long speech?
It's incredibly, once again, disappointing. We've been working diligently on the farm bill, and even the Democrat Senator Debbie Stabenow said that she would be okay with extending the farm bill until the end of this term, which it is, but even more so than that, that's not okay. Our farmers and ranchers are extremely important to this country. When we say food security is national security, we tend to mean it. Some of our colleagues don't, though, when they think that we can just extend the farm bill, as we have to continuously work on the farm safety net, crop insurance, and even cover some specialty crops that we have in our district that aren't currently covered right now. And so when we look at everything as a whole, it's incredibly disappointing that it seems as if the other side of the aisle is just okay with extending this farm bill and not getting to work and addressing it the way that it should be. And that, to me, is incredibly disappointing. To me, it shows you where this president and this administration, where their priorities are. And he laid them out very clear within the first 5 to 10 minutes of his speech. He then compared himself to FDR as a wartime president. And to me, once again, it was just incredibly divisive campaign nonsense as opposed to real policy from the commander in chief of our country.
It felt more like a correspondence dinner speech than a State of the Union, right?
It really did. And I know people have said, well, President Trump, when he was up, look, I had gone to all of President Trump's State of the Unions when I worked for him in the White House in the operational capacity. Not once was it ever this political and divisive. I mean, President Trump isn't in office right now, but yet Biden wants to blame Trump for everything that's happened under his watch. It's hard to make sense for anybody, I believe.
What are you hearing from your constituents so far? What's their reaction? What's next after this? Because it's just a speech. What happens in the day to day? What's this going to
Well,
mean realistically for Ohioans?
Well, the interesting so the typical reaction I'm getting from, let's say, the Republican side is, the typical reaction you expect to hear. We kind of knew it was going to be like this, incredibly divisive. Once again, he has not brought answers to the problems we have within our country. But what's more interesting than that is that some of our other constituents who are Democrat and even independent, and then those are the responses that I'm really looking and listening to as I listen to all of them. But to be clear, they're incredibly disappointed. They think that last night was a big loser for them and that President Biden didn't address the problems that really matter to the American people. President Biden doesn't go to the grocery store to buy his own groceries, and he certainly doesn't fill up his car at the local gas station every single day. And the majority of individuals that he works with, who all have details, aren't adjusted to real life. Real Ohioans and Ohioans know that they are struggling when they go to the grocery store, that they're struggling when they go to the pump, and they see the crime and the illegal immigration, which has ravaged the state of Ohio. And I got made fun of on my first campaign when I said that Ohio is a border state. Well, there was a drug bust that just happened in the state of Ohio that was directly connected to the southern border when it comes to fentanyl. We are a border state, and all of this can be fixed, and we just didn't hear it. And they are incredibly disappointed by President Biden's outlook for the country, as it was not positive and made it seem like everything was going to crumble down last night at the State of the Union. He didn't even address trade. I mean, we're going to double our trade deficit when agriculture from around 15 billion to 30.1 billion, I believe the numbers are roughly right around there. I mean, we are getting taken advantage of by Mexico with their protectionist revision on GMO corn, and Canada, who's negated the USMCA agreement, like Mexico, with dairy tariffs at 318% for our dairy producers in Ohio. I mean, this man has said nothing about what actually matters, in my opinion, to any farmer and rancher, regardless of political affiliation. He's acting as if, we don't matter. And that isn't good enough. And we need better leadership out of the president of the United States, who are going to hold even our allies accountable for breaking these trade agreements that we've had in place for a few years. I mean, it is astounding to me that we wouldn't want to do better and expand our trade, and literally, as a byproduct of that, helping our national security infrastructure, making new friends and building alliances. I mean, that is why agriculture is so exciting, is that it can touch so many different things across the board that maybe people don't think about.
And there was just a letter sent about milk prices. You talk about inflation, talk about the impacts of local farmers, and everybody goes to the grocery store, and you wouldn't be able to without the help of the ag industry. Milk prices are a big part of the concern as well. Prices for all agricultural products, right?
1,000%, but you didn't hear that last night. What you heard last night is a rosy economy in a great country that is, chugging along. And, according to President Biden, in terms of the economy, it's the greatest thing in the world. It's not. If you're a young couple out there right now, or you're an adult and you want to move to a different home, good luck with an 8% interest rate. Same thing if you want to buy a vehicle right now. I mean, look, there was a couple who are friends of my wife and I. And they're a little bit younger, and they went to go buy a home out in our district. And the home price was exactly where they wanted it to be. But, they're not really paying attention to what's going on in terms of interest rates rising by a quarter of a basis point and things like that. So when they sit down with the realtor and they hash everything out, they're looking at the payment and their principal, and they're like, whoa, what's happening here? Why is this so much money? We had it at around, a 3.7, percent, whatever. So they were educated very quickly. And as they walked out of there, and I'm talking about two very, hard individuals on the other side of the aisle, they called my wife and I and privately said, we're going to be voting for the other guy, because we didn't realize the type of economy that is right outside of our door. The home that they're in is going to be their forever home right now as they continue to expand their family. And that is the position that we've put people in, whether you can't even afford a home for your young family or a family in general, or if you want to do better for yourself. President Biden has made this country unaffordable on the wages that are currently being put out by him and his administration. So,
And what else do you want to get out there for constituents? Where can they go? What can they do if they want to voice their concerns, let you know what they're struggling with and what needs to be done and how to move forward coming out of this?
absolutely. We are open, and we are here as a resource for any constituent or anyone that would like to ask us a question. We have two district offices. We have one out in Medina at the town square, and we have one in Parma attached to the rec department. And we are happy to take any questions or concerns. And even so our district offices, I want to be clear, we help veterans with disability or outsourcing appointments. If you have any issues with the IRS or anyone in your business within the district that has any issues, please contact us. Immigration, please contact us with visas, statuses, passports, and anything with healthcare. And we touch a myriad of issues and other concerns that people may have about agriculture or the Farm Bill. Please reach out to us. We have an Agriculture Advisory Council that's led by former Congressman Bob Gibbs. and Ohio Director of Agriculture, Brian Baldridge. And we're working hard every single day to make sure that the Farm Bill becomes a reality and that we can provide some relief to our farmers and ranchers that are out there in Ohio and across the country. And so please use this as a resource. We are here working hard and diligently on your behalf. And make no mistake, I understand this very well, as some of my other colleagues, I believe, don't. I work for all of you. You don't work for me. And so if there's anywhere that I need to go or any question that I need to ask, please reach out to us, because that is my job. And I'm lucky and honored enough to have it to represent all of you, who put me here. So thank you.
Thank you again so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks.